Hey guys, so this is going to be part 2 of my Minecraft Survival World showcase, I guess you want to call it. I'm going to have more parts in this. I'm going to try to make this shorter than the last episode. I feel like the last episode got kind of and yeah, so let's get into it. So in the first episode, I showed off that part of the city over there, and I talked a little bit about this building here. So this episode, I want to talk about the South District over here, and then the giant tower, and then the Sky City up there. So the Central District and the North District was mostly just housing or public buildings, whereas the South District was the biggest district of them all, but it was made almost entirely up of farms. And funny thing is, the South District has actually changed a lot over the years. Like, at one point, there used to be a giant graveyard right in this corner, and there also used to be a house here. There were like 3 small houses here. There was a tree house over here, but all of that got destroyed. I actually have an old world file on the Java edition because I had converted this to Java too, and we had played this on a server for, I want to say, 2 or 3 months, but it never really took off. So yeah, there are different iterations of this world. At one point, this wall here was all a 1 block high wall of netherrack, and it was just made as kind of a cheap wall to keep mobs out and to keep out other players that we didn't want getting in, or at least to serve as a deterrent. But the problem is, for some reason on the Xbox 360, netherrack would actually cause your world to lag a little bit, and because we had so much of it all over the place, not to mention if you had a dog or a cat that was following you, they would catch fire and die. Another thing that's changed in the South District is this farm used to be full of little canals. Like where that water is used to be canals that would go all the way across, and I can actually show you on the old world file, the older world file in the Java edition, which I'll go over to in just a minute, so give me a second. Okay, so we are back. We are now on the Java version of the world. Now, this version we played as a server up until, I want to say, late 2018. It may have been 2017, I'm not really sure. But as you can see, the farm looks quite different. It really wasn't optimized like it is in the most modern iteration of it. It has all these canals, which a friend of mine actually told me that they were unnecessary and we could just have little water holes. It also has a lot more of these little posts with jack-o'-lanterns on them to keep the mobs out at night. So there's also a lot more melons, it looks like, than before. But talking about the structures that used to be here, first of all, this courthouse, though it's in this version and the Bedrock version, used to actually be a cobblestone, like a little cobblestone fortress that someone had made, but that got destroyed during a faction war. There were actually a lot of faction wars on this world, and most of them happened in the South District. The South District was the site of most of the conflict in the world, but there were other conflicts we had that I'll show later. Also, you'll notice on the Bedrock version, this church is different, significantly different, which I'll get back to the Bedrock version in a minute and show you. But here, it's like a satanic church, and what happened is somebody mined out this cobblestone, and the entire building actually caught fire. You can see some of the missing blocks still that were never replaced. The whole building, basically, I'd say 2/3 of this building were destroyed, especially the back part of it. And we kind of patched it up, but then we ran out of wood. And then the inside of it somehow turned into a sheep farm. I'm not sure how that worked, but it's kind of neat. Which, by the way, this was also a restaurant at one point. This building went through, I mentioned in the first episode how we had a currency system, and this world, people used to actually buy like actual buildings, not just items. They'd buy buildings, and this building has went through several different owners over the years. Now, this is that graveyard I was talking about before, which used to be, I want to say there were 2 or 3 small houses over there, and there were also 2 or 3 small houses right in this area here, but they were removed. This house has been here all the way since 2014. This is an old, old house. There was this kid that was griefing us on a regular basis, and eventually we just banned him because he kept griefing. But yeah, this was his house, and it's unchanged. This is his original house. It's pretty much unchanged since it was built back in 2014. He had a little basement area. I think there's shovels. Yeah, there's shovels in there. Nothing really of any use. But you can just see how much we mined, just to prove. I like how Java has spectator mode. You can just kind of see how much we mined over the years, just proof that this was done on survival and it wasn't creative or anything. I mean, you can see all those strip mines and all the torches. This is going back into the big mine, which I showed this in part 1. If you want to see that more, go watch part 1. Also, we have a beacon in the central district here, just a little thing there. So anyway, back to the south district. Over here, we actually have 2 buildings that are not there on the new version. This was just a donations building where basically people would go in here, throw the items they don't want or don't need, and then other players that needed them could take them. But we got rid of this when there weren't, because at one point there were probably about 30 active players on this world that would play regularly. Of course, on the Xbox 360, you could only have 8 people at one time, so people would literally be waiting for other people to leave so they could join, stuff like that. But we had about 30 people that would play on and off, so having like stuff like this was kind of needed, but as it wasn't needed, we got rid of it. This building here was just like an honor system. You'd buy food, you'd leave the money in that chest, you'd take food from this chest. This was actually where we would execute people. We could put them in here just as a prison, all these doors would shut, or if we wanted to execute them, we'd destroy their beds so they couldn't spawn back near us, and then we put them in here, and they would suffocate to death. Now, we used to have a little hanging area, which was right here, this hole. Basically, you'd stand on this wooden platform with a trapdoor, someone would flip the trapdoor, and then you'd fall down this hole, and you would die. That was how we kind of did justice on this world. Now, this farm, there used to be another house over here. There was a little cobblestone house. You can kind of see in that corner where it was. The South District has probably changed more than any other district in the city, realistically. So, yeah, there were a lot of changes that the South District went through. And really, it looks nothing today like it used to. I would say this, like if I had to divide it into phases, there was the early phase where it had the netherrack wall, which I don't even have a world file from that to show you. There was the mid phase, which is how it is now. And then there was the late phase, which is how it is on the Bedrock Edition. So I think I'm going to end this here. I'm actually going to do the Sky City up there and everything in part 3, only just to keep these videos relatively short. I don't think people really want to watch me ramble for 30 minutes, so if you do, leave it in the comments and I'll make longer videos, but yeah, so that being said, I'm definitely going to put part 3 up soon. I'm going to have way more parts than just 3. This is not the only city in the world. This is the biggest and the most popular, but there are other ones. There's one off in that direction, there's one in that direction. There's a lot of interesting little things here and there. So, yeah, subscribe if you want to see more. Leave a like if you liked the video. Thank you for watching if you've made it this far, and have a great day. Goodbye.